Hi, I'm Angie. Let's get started with your 30-minute Pilates. I'll get you down on the mat in a back laying position with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Placing the hands down beside you, you're in a neutral spine. Switch your T-zone on with your inhale breath. Exhale, slide one heel along the floor. Inhale, bring it back in. Other side, exhale, slide. Inhale, bring it back in. So just gently warming up through the T-zone, thinking about the ribs gliding down towards the hips as we slide the heel away. Trying to keep the T-zone switched on throughout the exercise, avoiding any sort of wobbling around side to side. Using our Pilates breath, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth with that little sigh. One more. And bring it back in. Let's float those arms up above the shoulders for our arm preparation. Sticking with our neutral spine. Inhale, T-zone. Exhale, lower those hands down towards the floor. Inhale, lifting back up. Nice and gentle, trying to stick with that continuous flow of movement. Remembering that everybody will be quite different with how close you can get your hands down towards the floor depending on shoulder mobility. Making sure we're not making any adjustments through the spine, just sticking with that neutral spine. Let's go for two more, making sure that the ribs aren't flaring or the chest popping out. And one more. Inhale, back up to the top. Let's combo those two movements now. Arm prep with the leg slide. Inhale, T-zone. Exhale, slide the heel away as the arms lower down. Inhale, bring it all back up. Other side. Exhale, slide away. Inhale, bring it back in. It's a little bit harder now to control that rocking. Really focus on keeping the T-zone activated. Keeping that nice controlled, precise movement. Altering through the spinal position. You might find you start to get a little bit more range with those arms as you're warming up. We'll just go for one more on each side. Keep that breathing going. Last one. And bringing it back in. Placing the hands down by the side, we'll move into lift foot. Keeping with our neutral spine, inhale, T-zone. Exhale, lift one leg up to tabletop. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, other side. Finding tabletop, inhale, setting back down. So as we go with this exercise, keeping that stationary knee, the foot that stays on the floor completely still, making sure that it doesn't flay out to the side as we lift the foot up into tabletop position. Keeping a check on any tension that's happening through the upper body, avoiding the shoulders drawing up towards the ears. Keep those shoulder blade muscles activated. Keeping the chin just gently tucked in but not over tucked. Just nice and gentle, starting to feel a little bit more warmth through the abdominals now. We'll go for one more on each side. Last one. And set it back down. Taking the hands behind the head, we come into our oblique curl to work the obliques. In our neutral spine, inhale, T-zone. Exhale, glide armpit to the opposite hip. Inhale, resting down. Exhale, armpit to opposite hip. Inhale, resting back down. So as we lift, lifting up as high as you can, using those obliques. Keeping the elbows nice and wide and the head resting back into the hands. Making sure that the knees don't start wobbling around from side to side. Keeping that T-zone switched on and maintaining that neutral spine. We'll keep going here, lifting up as high as you can. Really feel the work in the obliques. Let's go for one more on each side. And last one. And resting back down. We'll combo those two together now, so oblique curl with lift foot. Keeping with the neutral spine, inhale T-zone, exhale, lifting one leg up, and the opposite armpit will lift up towards the knee. Inhale down, other side, exhale, try and make the movement work together. Thinking about the armpit heading across to the opposite hip or towards the knee. Lifting up as high as we can without pulling on the head. Really working our core now. We should be feeling a little bit more warmth. Keep it coming nice and steady. No need to race through this one. We are almost there. Keep it coming. Focus on that T-zone activation. Let's go for one more on each side. Exhale, lift. Inhale, resting down. And last one. And inhale, rest back down. Taking those hands back by the side, we'll come into an imprinted spinal position now. So draw those abdominals down towards the mat, trying to keep your lower back nice and flat against the floor. Coming into our tabletop position. So in our tabletop position, we want to find that the knees are stacked directly above the hips and that the shins are parallel to the floor. Pointing down into the toes, make sure we're not lifting our toes up, finding that nice 90-degree angle. This is true tabletop position. From here, we're moving into our pendulum, so extend those arms out by the sides with the palms facing up to the sky, and we'll squeeze our inner thighs together. Make sure your T-zone is active. As we inhale with this one, gently lower the knees to one side, but we don't want to go too far. No arching through the spine, and we don't lift the shoulders. Then as we exhale, use the abdominal activation, lifting back to center. Other side, inhale, lower down. Exhale, use the abdominals. Coming back to center. So nice and gentle, try not to pick up any sort of momentum with this one. So when we first start with this one, don't worry about taking the knees too far over to the side. If we go too far, most likely we'll switch the T-zone off, and then we start using our quadriceps or pressing through the arms. Just start nice and small, only going an inch or so to either side. And then use the abdominals to come back to center, really holding that tabletop position. Keep going for a few more, making sure we're not arching the spine. Becoming, focusing on the breathing. If you're feeling confident, you can start to drop those knees just a little bit more, only if you're able to keep the T-zone switched on. Now don't press through the shoulders, use the abdominals. Exhale, draw it back. And one more. Exhale, use the abdominals. And we can rest back down. Take a breath. Moving into a side lying position for our glute work. Reaching the bottom arm long, just bending the knees slightly, making sure that the feet are down in line with the body. Inhale, T-zone. Exhale, press the heels together, open the knee. Inhale, close it down. Exhale, squeeze those heels. Inhale, close it back down. So you've got the option here to either place your hand on your bottom so you can feel that squeeze of the glute muscle each time, so we know we're getting into the right area. Or you can also pop your hand to that top hip to make sure it stays completely still, that we're not wobbling backwards off our center or rolling forward. If you're not feeling quite stable, just keep that hand down in front. Make sure we're not placing any weight into it. It's just there for a little bit of balance. Keep it coming. Keep using that breath to help you. Nice and gentle. Remember, it's not about getting a big range of movement. We just want to feel the glute muscle working. Keep squeezing the heels together to really activate the glutes. Get the most out of your movement. And let's go for one more. And rest. Moving into the kick out on the same side. T-zone tight. We open the knee, squeeze that glute. Extend the leg long in line with the body. And then touch the toes and close it down. So our breathing is inhale, open. Exhale, extend. Inhale, touch. Exhale, close it down. So keeping with our Pilates principle to keep our nice flowing movement continuous with no beginning, no end, no jarring movement. Really use the breath to help you set the pace of the movement, pointing down into your toes. Keep it coming. We should be feeling a good bit of warmth in our top bottom cheek about now. If it's getting tough, pop a little smile on your face. Always helps make things just that little bit easier. We are about halfway through with this one now. Keep it coming. Keep thinking about that T-zone. Top hip drawing down towards the bottom hip. Helps keep that top hip stacked and in place. Notice that there's nothing happening with my top shoulder. I'm not letting any tension draw up towards the ear. Even though it's the bottom half of the body working, we can still focus on our top half. Make sure we're utilizing all our technique. I've got a couple more to go of these ones. Try and finish it off with me. Keep it nice and smooth. One last one. And resting down. Ready to move into bicycle, so we're still working the glutes pretty hard this time. Open the knee, extend that leg. T-zone switched on. Inhale, bend the knee in towards the chest. Exhale, flex, extend your leg and sweep back in line with the body. Inhale, point the toes, bring the knee in. Exhale, flex and extend, sweeping the leg back in line with the body. So a few little pointers with this one. We still want to really think about that top hip. Make sure it stays nice and stacked. We're not rolling backwards. With our sweeping leg, be careful not to curl the knee too far forward, otherwise we start to round through the lower back. And as you sweep that leg back in line with the body, don't go too far, otherwise we'll start to arch our spine and we then lose the T-zone activation. Now we should be feeling a good burn right up here into the glute muscle. So if you can feel it burning there, then you have got it absolutely correct. We are almost there. Let's see if we can finish off these last 4. Sticking with those nice smooth reps. Doing great. Nice and smooth. We've got a couple more to go. Try not to pick up the pace. Keep thinking about all those technical pointers. And one lucky last one to go. And let's close it down. And we'll definitely need to give ourselves a little bit of a rub after that one. Reaching those legs long now, your top leg is going to come over the top. You've got a couple of options, either leave the foot down here or we can allow the knee to drop all the way down. So find the position that suits you best. If you've got the knee up, you can hold on to the ankle here. Flex that bottom leg. We're still keeping that top hip stacked, coming into the inner thigh. T-zone on with our inhale breath. Exhale, big squeeze, lift the leg as high as you can. Inhale, rest back down. Exhale, big squeeze, lift as high as you can. And inhale, rest back down. So trying to lift that leg as high as you can. If you do feel it's a little bit painful on the bottom hip bone there, you can fold up a little towel or double your mat over for a little bit more support. Try not to completely rest down each time. So we want to keep the load in those inner thigh muscles. We should feel quite a bit of a pull there. We're coming up to our last ones now. Keep it coming. Big exhale breath, lifting up as high as you can. Try not to pick up the pace. We've got two more. Is your T-zone still switched on? And one last one. And resting back down. Let's flip straight over to the other side. Side plank, reaching that bottom arm long in our clam position. Starting with just our clams. Inhale, T-zone. Exhale, squeeze the heels together, open the knee. Inhale, close down. Exhale, big squeeze. Inhale, close it down. So remember your options here. If you want to feel the bottom working, place your hand on your glute here so you can feel that nice big squeeze underneath the hand. I always like that myself, so I know that I'm doing the exercise correctly. You can also place your hand onto that top hip, making sure that it stays completely still. We don't want to roll backwards or round forward, so it's all the same technique we covered on the first side. Keep using the rhythm of the breath to help you. If you're finding the balance tricky, feel free to keep the hand resting down. We've got a couple more reps of these ones. Keep thinking about all that technique, squeezing the heels. Really work the glute. And flow straight into our kick out. T-zone tight. Open the knee. Extend the leg long. Touch the toes and close it down. Our breathing. Inhale, lift. Exhale, extend. Inhale, touch. Exhale, close down. Keep it coming. Nice and smooth, that continuous movement. As we go, try not to lose that balance. Keep that top hip stacked. We should be feeling a good bit of warmth through our glutes now. Keep it coming. Coming up to the last few. Is your T-zone still switched on? Making sure that we've got no tension creeping up towards the ears. Keep it all pressing away. Trying to point your toes. 2 more reps to go. Using that breath to help you, especially if it's getting challenging now. One lucky last one. And resting down, moving straight into our bicycle. T-zone on. Inhale, bend the knee into the chest. Exhale, flex. and press out, sweeping back in line with the body. Inhale, T-zone tight. Exhale, pressing away. So being careful not to sweep that leg too far back. We don't want to arch through the spine. And being mindful as we bring the knee in towards the chest that we don't want to tuck the pelvis under. Try and keep it nice and continuous. This one really gets deep into our glute muscle, so we should be feeling a nice little burn right about now. We are about halfway through these ones. Keep using your breath, and remember that little trick of a smile. If it's getting hard, pop a smile on your face. Almost there. 2 more reps to go. Keep thinking about all your technique. Keep the top hip stacked. 1 last one to go. And resting down. Give yourself a little bit of a rub and then extend those legs. Take the top leg over, flex the bottom foot. Inhale, T-zone. Exhale, big lift. Inhale, rest down. Exhale, big lift. We're going to use the inner thigh. Inhale, lower down. Keeping it coming. Try not to rest all the way down each time. Need a moment to reset your T-zone. Take that opportunity. Try and keep the top hip stacked. Got a few more to go here. Almost there, coming up to our last couple of reps. Lifting the leg up as high as you can. Keep the T-zone switched on. It does like to switch off every now and again. And 1 last one. And resting down. Let's join those legs together and flip over onto the belly for our upper back work. Taking the hands out to the side in our cactus position. Tuck your pubic bone into the mat, T-zone switched on. With our inhale breath, lifting just the upper half of the body. And then breathing naturally as we start to take dinner plate size circles over the surface of the floor. Feeling the shoulder blades drawing down and back, trying to lift up as high as we can. If you are feeling any sort of neck pain or trouble maintaining the position, you can just rest your forehead back down. Keep going with the arms. But if you're okay, stay lifted up. Keep it coming. Got a few more circles to go. Keep breathing, T-zone switched on. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest down. Reaching those arms forward for freestyle. So we'll start just lifting off the mat first. Tuck your pubic bone in. T-zone switched on. Inhale, lift one arm up. Exhale, resting down. Inhale, lift. The head lifts too. And exhale, release back down. So if you're finding any sort of neck issues, you can leave the forehead resting down on the floor here. We're trying to lift up as high as we can, really working those shoulder blade muscles. Let's go for 4 more here. Use that breath to help you. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. You've got 1 more on each side. 1 more. And rest. Sweeping the hands back by the sides with the palms facing up for flight. Tuck your pubic bone in. T-zone switched on. As we inhale, Draw those shoulders down and back, lifting the chest, head and arms up. We then start to internally, externally rotate the entire arm. So we're not just turning the wrists or the elbows, it's the entire arm. With any sort of neck issues, you can rest that forehead back down, but otherwise stay nice and lifted, lifting up as high as you can, as long as you don't feel it into the lower back. Using the T-zone activation to support the lower back. We'll go for a few more rotations, lifting up as high as we can, lifting the arms up nice and high. 4, 3, 2, last one, and rest down. Taking a big breath here. You've worked pretty hard. All right, taking those hands underneath the shoulders, pushing back, giving yourself a child's pose, sealing the bottom to the heels, reaching through the fingers. Just taking some breaths here. Feeling that big stretch through the upper back. And slide those hands into the knees. Sitting back onto the bottom, we'll come to a back laying position. Taking one leg across the top and pressing the knee away. If that's enough stretch for you, you can stay there. Otherwise, thread through. And bring the knee in towards the chest. Make sure you give the glutes a nice big stretch. They worked super hard for us today. And switching it over to the other side. Start with just pressing the knee away. And then if you want to, you can take the thread through. And release, bringing yourself up to sitting. Tucking one leg in front of the other for our mermaid stretch, so both hands onto the knees. Taking the hand on the opposite side of that back foot there, reaching up to the sky and over towards the foot. If you need a bit more stretch, you can take the free hand across to the opposite knee and shift your gaze up underneath the armpit. Just enjoying that stretch. All down the side of the body, maybe into the hip a little bit. And open up, switching over to the other side, taking the hands to the knees, opposite hand to that back foot, reaching up high and over towards the foot. Big reach. If you want more stretch, taking the free hand across to the opposite knee, peering past the armpit. And opening up. That brings us to the end of class today. Thank you for joining me.